Hi, this is Carrie, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a custom cover for a bound printed scrapbook in iScrapbook software. Now, one of the drawbacks of iScrapbook software is that it doesn't have a cover template included in the software. And so you kind of have to have necessity be the mother of invention. And so this is the method I've used for creating covers for bound printed scrapbooks. And it's similar to the method that I think a lot of people who use Photoshop Elements use, and it seems to work pretty well for most of us. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 pages to the very end of my album. And I'm going to do that by clicking on my Add Page button over here next to my Pages pane. And I'm going to name the first one Front Cover. I'm going to name the next one Back Cover. And I'm going to name the third one Spine. And what I'm going to do with these is I can just design them as I would design a cover for a book in any other software. And when I go to switch this, you'll notice that when you switch between pages in iScrapbook, it automatically prompts you to save the selected page before you move to a different page. And then for the spine, I use a coordinating paper. I don't use the same paper that I use for the front and the back. And the reason for this is once I export these and save them and upload them to my printing site, I'm going to end up dragging these 3 files into 3 separate areas of their online software cover template. And if I have the same paper for the spine that I have for the front and the back, I'm going to run into problems matching up prints on the paper, and then when the book is printed and I get it home, I'm going to see lap marks where the spine paper meets up with the front and back papers. So I found that this is the best way to kind of combat that, and it gives the book a little bit more of a classic book feel where the spine is a different color or paper or something than the front and back covers. So now that I've created my, in this particular case, extremely simple cover pieces, I'm going to click on File and Order Book. Now, in other software, when you click on File, Order Book, it automatically uploads your book to that particular software's preferred printing site, and then you go to that site and just order the book. In iScrapbook, they give you the freedom to upload to any printing site you'd like under this option. So what you do, they have a button that you can click to view the instructions for this, but basically what you do is you're exporting them to a file format that your printing site will recognize, and then you upload them and order your book from that site. So I'm going to click on Save Selected Album, and it will open a save dialog box, and automatically it titles your save as whatever your album name is, and I'm just going to leave it Video Album. Actually, I'm just going to call it Album, because that way it'll come up sooner in the alphabetical list. Now, when you open this, the default file format to save in is iScrapbook file. I'm going to change it to JPEG. Most online printing softwares print in or accept JPEG files. Some accept PNGs or PDFs, but either JPEG or PNG is pretty safe file export format for print sites. You'll want to make sure that 300 dpi, and it says in parentheses print, which is the kind of standard printing resolution, is selected, and then I always bump my slider up to best, and then I click Save. And what it does is it exports these pages to a folder in the location that I told it to save in as JPEG files. And it takes a minute to do that export, but And then what you end up with, I can show you while it's finishing, because I already exported this once. What you end up with is I save to my desktop, and it goes into a folder with whatever name you selected to name it, and then all your pages appear in that folder as individual JPEG files. And since we made the last 3 pages in our album, the cover pages, you know that the last 3 pages in your file list are your cover pages. Now, what you'll do from there is you'll go to your preferred printer site, your online printer site, and upload the JPEGs to your account at their site. And then what you do is you end up going into the online book creator software that they have to create a full bleed bound book. And here I have a book that I was working on earlier that will kind of demonstrate how you end up placing these elements on here. And this is the book template at Shutterfly for a bound book. And so I just drag my back cover page over to this side and it fills it up. I drag my front cover page over to this side and it fills it up. And then I drag my spine to the spine area and it fills it up. Now, if I want to edit how it's laid out on there, I will double click on it and then I can move the, I kind of want this crease to show on my spine just for as a cute kind of effect. And I'll click done. And then on my front, I can kind of line it up a little more so it's a little more centered. And here it doesn't look centered, but when I click done and look at it on the preview over here, it will look a little more centered. Now, when I do this and I create my front and back covers, I purposely place my elements. I leave at least a 1-inch margin around the edge of my paper to allow for trimming and whatnot when I add it to the printed page. If you notice, if I take this page off of here and you look at it down here in the thumbnail preview, there's a big margin around all the sides to allow for it to wrap around the edges of the cover without causing problems. And when I put it on here, it looks kind of funny, and that's why I double click it and kind of align it a little better. Because basically what you see here in the preview is what your book is going to look like when you get it from Shutterfly. And the first time you use a printer, obviously you're not as certain of that. I'm pretty certain of that because I've printed this book at Shutterfly and I know that's what it looks like when it comes back. But that is just a quick rundown of how you will print scrapbook pages in iScrapbook and create custom covers.